We're going live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kellie Kitchen. Let me adjust this just a tad. I hope everybody is ready for some food, health, and fun. We've got a lot on tap today. We are going to be making a bacon and cheddar quiche. I've been promising a friend this for a long time, so we are going to pull that together. I've already kind of gotten started on that because it takes a little bit longer than the time that we have together. We are also going to be making a new dessert. I think it's like on the level of like witchcraft, because in keto and low carb, we do not typically eat apples, but it is apple season. So I came up with a keto apple crisp, and you're never going to guess what we use instead of apples. But I've had 3 or 4 people have this dessert, plus me, so 5 of us, and we all feel like this is like a home run. So the recipe is not up on the website because I just made it for the first time yesterday, and we're going to make it again today because we're going to send it out to the masses and see what they get too. And then we're going to make a broccoli salad. Very simple, but a broccoli salad can be a great thing to keep in your fridge. I'm just going to turn this. I'm going to turn that thing down. A broccoli salad is a great thing that you can keep in your refrigerator because the broccoli retains its crunch. And we're going to dress it with some bacon and some cheddar cheese and some red onion. And so those are the 3 things that we have on tap. I always tell myself that I'm going to put together like a little list of things that I'm going to talk about, but we're just going to get started. The first thing that I did was I made the crust for the bacon and cheddar quiche. This is a 10-inch round. You can use a regular pie dish, which is like 9 inches around, but you're going to want to reduce the cream and the eggs because then you're going to overflow. So I already made the crust. That was, it's almond flour butter. It's pretty simple. Almond flour butter, garlic powder, and salt. And then you kind of mix that all together and you pop it in the oven for like 10 or 12 minutes. We're going to bake this again, so it'll get even more toasty and brown. I'm going to turn my cameras this way so you can see. I've already started. I have sauteed, I sauteed up here a half of a large yellow onion and a bunch of bacon. Now, I cheated because I already made the bacon like a couple weeks ago. I batch cooked 3 pounds of bacon and I keep it in my freezer. So when I was ready to make this quiche and that broccoli salad, I just pulled out my frozen, already done bacon, and I chopped it up and I added it to the onion so it's nice and hot and crispy and warm, just like I just made it. I had a long day at work today, but I have to share with you, I'm so excited. One of my favorite podcasts that I make is sorry, I'm just gonna make this so that it's not tilting. I hope that makes it a little bit better. My favorite podcast. Hi, Kelly. Low Carb MD went live today. They interviewed me a couple of weeks ago, so it's on my Facebook page, and you can kind of check that out. It's a really fascinating. I love these guys. They're all about treating the patient and stuff like that. So we're gonna get started on the quiche. And because I already made the onion and bacon mixture, and I've already made the crust, we are going to get busy on the actual quiche part. So I'm going to do 3 eggs and 1 cup of cream, and just like a little bit of salt and pepper. You're going to have plenty of salt in the bacon, so you don't want to add too much salt, and there is salt in the crust too. So you don't want to add too much salt, but of course you can't taste it until it's actually done. To put the pepper in after And I'll tell you why. I'll show you why in a second. Okay, so I've got a cup of heavy cream, 3 eggs, and oh dear, look at me. I forgot to get my trusty whisk. You don't have to use a power mixer. You can just use a handheld whisk if you want. That's totally fine. I do think that whoops, wouldn't be the Kellie kitchen if I didn't make a little bit of a mess. I think it adds like a little bit of volume to the egg and cream mixture, just because you're whipping air in there. And we're just gonna whip that for, I don't know, maybe like a minute. So I can't wait for you guys to see. You probably can already see right here in the foreground. We're gonna be using some zucchini to make our apple crisp. I know it sounds wackadoodle, and honestly, I held off on making this recipe because ingredients are expensive, and I didn't want to wait. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Ingredients are expensive, so I didn't want to waste all the zucchini and all the almond flour and all the nuts, but it's really a fabulous, it's got a really crunchy crumble on top of the apple mixture after we get it nice and caramelized in the thing there. Okay, so we're gonna make some whipped cream later if we have time. So I'm just gonna put this off to the side, and I'm gonna clean these. I've already got my garbage kind of collecting here in this area, so I'll just put this hand mixer over there. Now I have my cream and egg mixture. I have my bacon mixture. I'm going to add just a touch of salt, like that looks like 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can add more or less. You don't have to add any at all. You can add it after the fact. I'm not going to add the pepper yet. And the reason why is because if I add the pepper now, it sinks to the bottom. Even though I whipped everything up, the pepper sinks to the bottom. So I wait until after the entire quiche is assembled, and then I sprinkle it with a little bit of pepper just to give it some seasoning. So this is a bacon and cheddar quiche. I've got my trusty bag of cheddar cheese. I think the recipe calls for about a cup of cheese. I don't really measure when I make this. It is measured in the recipe on the website. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put half of my bacon and onion mixture into the quiche and into the quiche shell, and I'm going to spread that around, get it all the way, because, you know, when you take a little bite of your quiche after it's done, you want it all to, you want to get a bite of the bacon, a bite of the cheese, a bite of the onion. Okay, so there's the first half. I'm going to sprinkle this with just a little bit of cheese. The reason I decided to kind of get this started, I don't know if it's going to be done. I think it's going to be done by the time that we are done. And this is actually a thinner quiche dish than other quiche dishes that I use, so it might not take the full 45 minutes, but maybe. Okay, so, oh wait, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I've done half of the onion bacon mixture, half of the cheese, and now I'm going to pour about half of the quiche mixture right there. Get kind of all over. Don't worry, you're going to put a whole nother layer. You're kind of doing this in layers, and actually this works out great because the cream and egg mixture is nice and fluffy. So, okay, see how I'm doing this? I'm kind of just trying to speckle it all over the place. We're also into week 2 of our whole life challenge. I'm so proud of our team. We are doing so well. Let's see who joined us. Hi, Liz. I'm going to put that in my garbage pile. Okay, now I'm going to add just a tiny bit of cheese here because I'm also going to add some cheese on top. So just a little bit of cheese. This quiche is so great for we can have it for dinner, like straight out of the oven, or we can, I can let it cool and just serve it at room temperature for like a lady's lunch or a brunch. But it also serves, is really great if you want to freeze it. I cut it into individual slices and put them in the freezer individually. And then when I'm ready to have one, I'll either pull it out and just let it thaw at room temperature, or I'll even just pop it in the microwave, bring it to work, or, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if you can see, and I don't want to pick this up because it's pretty full. But you want it to be not overflowing, like not all the way to the top, because when the eggs and the cream cook, they'll actually fluff up a little bit. Okay, we're going to put just a tiny bit more cheese. I think altogether I probably used about 1 cup of cheese, which is I think what I wrote in the recipe. I'll have to check that. And now I'm going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for, I'm going to do it for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to check on it. The normal recipe calls for, I believe, 45 minutes, but it depends on your depth of your pan. And one of the troubles that I have when, or not troubles, but one of the issues that I have when I'm writing up recipes for my website is that not everybody has a pan that size. And I have square pans, and I have round pans, and I have regular tins. And so I'm trying to make stuff in tins that everybody already has. But okay, so quiche is in the oven 30 minutes. Now we're going to get started on our apple crisp. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. This is a nonstick pan. I feel for Peter when he comes home and does the dishes, because the poor guy, he walks in and there's a mountain, and if I have a pan that's got a bunch of gunk on it, then I feel bad. And he actually got me these pans for Christmas or something, which was like my favorite gift. I love them. Okay, so the apple crisp recipe calls for 4 small zucchinis. This is what I have used. This is the 5th. I'm not going to use this. And basically what I do is I cut off both ends, and then I peel it completely. Then I cut it in half lengthwise, and then I cut it into little rounds. And this is what they look like. See what they look like? And I would say that those are about 1/4 inch thick. You want them to not be too thick because you want them to take on the texture of the apples. But you also don't want them to be too thin, because then they'll get like mushy. So kind of experiment with that a little bit. I think that that's probably a good size. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to, if you could just like go with me here for a second. So I can really know for the recipe, where's my thing? Okay, these are clean, by the way. We all know how I hate emptying the dishwasher. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just turn that down for a second. I want to measure how many, because this is 4 small zucchinis. And I just want to measure so that, because every zucchini is a different size. And when I put this recipe, okay, so there's 2 cups. We'll get that going. And, you know, when somebody says, oh, well, is it small? Is it medium? What size is the actual zucchini? And quite frankly, it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, of course, I don't want you using jumbo zucchinis, but I think that this is about 4 cups. I think we are good at 4 cups of zucchini. There we go. Okay, let's get that going. So we're going to stir that up a little bit. We'll get my little guy here. And these are going to simmer down and get nice and soft. We're going to add to the zucchini, as they start getting soft, we're going to add, I see all these people watching me. Hi. We're going to add some lemon juice. Like that acidity really is great to give you sort of that apple sort of flavor. We're also going to add some of my favorite monk fruit sweetener. It's by a brand called Lakanto. You can use any sweetener that you like. It is a 1-to-1 sweetener. So if you don't want to be keto, I don't know why, but if you didn't want to be low carb, you could just use regular sugar if you wanted to. You know, like for people that are allergic to apples or whatever. And I also ordered, I don't know that it'll make that much of a difference, but I ordered apple extract. So next time I make this, I'm going to try the apple extract and see if that gives it even more of an intense apple flavor. We'll just have to see. I think it would be a nice sort of addition. Okay, so that's going. I had to write this down. While that's going, we're going to get started on the crumble, which goes on top. So let me just turn this way. Hello, hello. Let's get this over here. Hi. Okay. You don't have to have one of these little mini food preps. I think I got this like, I don't know, 25 years ago. It's just a little mini Cuisinart food chopper. You could chop the nuts by hand. That is totally fine. You can buy them already chopped if you want. But I do suggest using raw nuts because we're going to bake them and we don't want them to get bitter. So I would definitely suggest raw almonds and raw pecans. That's what we're going to use. Now, I ran out of almonds, but one of our favorite things to do from Trader Joe's is we get these packages of individual serving nuts, and these are just raw almonds, and this is 1 ounce or a quarter of a cup, and the recipe calls for a quarter of a cup of raw almonds, and then a full cup of raw pecans, and this is my jumbo pack. I think I got this at Smart and Final, and so I'm going to do a cup. That's a half a cup, and another half of a cup. We'll get that to the side. Hold on a second. I'm going to just stir my. I don't want apples to get brown. I just want them to caramelize. So I don't want them to be too hot. I got a little bit brown, but that's okay. I saved the day. Okay, so we're just going to turn that down a little bit. We're going to get that going. It's going to be like on medium. We'll just turn that down a little bit. Guys, I'm juggling a million things. Where is my LaCroix? There it is. We're also going to use a little bit of xanthan gum to thicken stuff. Now, I think you guys have heard me talk about xanthan gum. You only want to use a little because if you think like, oh, the more the better, your things will get clumpy or glumpy. Sorry, glumpy is more of the word. It's like glue. So you just want to use a little tiny bit that's when we get back to the zucchini. So I need a sip of this. Sorry, it's starting to cool down here. It was kind of sweater weather. Okay, so we are going to pulse the nuts. We don't want these fully chopped because we still want to have some chunks for the crust. And one more. I think that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'll take that off. Where is my thing? Let me get another bowl. Okay, so now we're going to make, oh, I know where my bowl is. We're going to make the crumb. Now, this is what I said. This is kind of what I put together in my, yes, the recipe is coming. Don't you worry. All the recipes will be up on the website. This apple crisp is a brand new recipe. I just made it up yesterday. I just wrote it up. I'm hoping to have it up by maybe tomorrow. So what I did was I took 4 tablespoons of butter and I melted it in the microwave, but I don't want it to be fully melted. I just want it to be super, super soft. And actually, room temperature butter is probably best, but I was running crazy. Hi, Marie. I was running crazy, so I just did a little microwave on it. I am going to add my, can you see my nuts? They're chopped, but they're not mealy. I'm going to add those to my butter. And I am going to add, where's my Lakanto? My Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. And let's see, this recipe calls for, I believe it's 3. I wrote it down. Okay, we have, for the crumble, we have 4 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of pecans, 1/3 of a cup of almond flour. There's my almond flour. There's my 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to give my zucchini a little stir. It's starting to get nice and soft. Actually, the caramelization might be kind of good on that. We're just going to keep that going for a little bit. I'm going to get the almond flour. Now, the reason you have almond crumble and almond flour is because the almond flour kind of acts as a binder. And one of the things I really love about this crumble recipe is that, quite frankly, it could be like granola. If you wanted to put it on plain Greek yogurt, that would be a great thing for it. Okay, so we are going to also add 3 tablespoons of Lakanto monk fruit sweetener, which is, and you don't need to powder this. It's fine if it's granular. 1, 2, 3. I also am going to add just a touch of liquid stevia, and I forgot to grab that, so let me get it over here. Oh, come on, where is it? Maybe I did grab it. Who knows? No, it's not. And then I'm going to tell you about this apple spice mixture. So here's my liquid stevia. You can get this online. You can get this at most supermarkets. And I actually like this best because I can control it. And so the crumble calls for 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The zucchini calls for 10 drops. The zucchini's getting close. I'll turn the camera in just a minute, because we're gonna add lemon juice and some other stuff to that. Okay, so we've got the almond flour, the stevia, the butter. Oh, you have to have a pinch of salt. I remember this because you want to have like that little sort of salt and sweet thing. And I just do a pinch that's about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then what I like to do is I like to take the back of my fork and mix all of this together, and it makes it into this crumble, and the butter binds it all together. And quite frankly, you could put this on a cookie sheet, line your cookie sheet with like some parchment paper or Silpat or whatever, but and then just bake it for like 15 minutes and get it, and then let it cool, and then you kind of crunch it up, and that's a great like homemade granola. I think I'm going to put that recipe on there too. Okay, so this looks fantastic. That's our crumble. Okay, we're going to put that to the side. We're going to turn back this way because we're now going to get back to our zucchini. Hi, Jan. We're going to get back to the zucchini. It's starting to really get nice and soft. I don't want it to get brown, so I don't want to go overboard. I probably should have used a little bit of a bigger pan, but that's okay. It's fine. Okay, so now for get my directions, my ingredients. I don't want to screw this up. It's so good. But it's also sort of like kind of an interesting thing. Okay, so we're going to use 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1/4 of a cup of my sweetener. Get this back over here. And some more stevia. So we're going to use 1/4 of a cup. We'll put that little Lakanto in there. We're going to add the lemon juice. 1 lemon for me that you've been using these lemons is about 2 tablespoons, which is what each half is about 1 tablespoon. So we're just going to put our lemon juice in there. We're going to add some liquid stevia to give it a nice, make sure there's no seeds in there. Liquid stevia will give it a nice little sweetness. We're going to do a pinch of salt. Pinch of salt. That's probably a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. We're going to, whoa, oh my God, I almost dropped that. This stuff is expensive. You do not want to drop this. And this will last a really long time, but don't drop it. Okay, so we're going to do 10 drops of our liquid stevia. Okay. And we're going to heat that up a little bit. We're going to get that going. Okay, now I want to talk to you about the apple pie spice mix. Now, if you don't have, my supermarket sometimes carries apple pie spice mix, sometimes they don't. But you can make it really easily. And quite frankly, you could just use cinnamon if that's all you have, or like a cinnamon mixture. Now, I wrote it down so I could share it with you because I made my own, and I'm going to put this recipe on the website too. This is a mixture of cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, and ginger. And this is probably, I think this is probably like a triple batch because we're going to use, oh, I'm so glad that I grabbed this because some of this needs to go into our crumble mixture. But we're going to put a teaspoon of this into our zucchini. It gives it a really nice flavor. And we're going to put a teaspoon of this into the crumble mixture also. Oh my God, you guys, why didn't you tell me? Okay, so we've got a teaspoon there, and then we've got a teaspoon here, right? That's what I did. Yes. Okay, so I've got my sweetener, I've got my thing. Okay, so now here's the little trick with xanthan gum. We're actually going to stir this up because the lemon juice is going to cook down, and we're going to add a quarter of a cup of water because you do want to have some liquid in there for the xanthan gum to grab onto. This is looking really good, and it smells like the Northeast in the fall. I miss that. I miss my friends in the Northeast. Some of them are on my Whole Life Challenge, and they're kicking ass. I'm so proud of them. And it's been really great for me, too. You know, I've been sleeping like a rock star most of the time. Okay, so that's good. We're going to do a quarter of a cup of water. We don't want too much water because we don't want it to be gloppy. Let me mix my apple pie mixture, my apple pie spice into my crumble. This is so fantastic. Honestly, I think this is a great granola recipe over some plain Greek yogurt or just drizzled with a little bit of like almond milk. You could almost kind of eat this like that. And you can see it's got a nice crumbly mixture. Okay, so my zucchini is really coming along. Now, can you see this? I'm going to have to pick these up so you guys can actually, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I do not want to drop this. This would be a real disaster. Huge disaster. Our quiche is cooking. Our zucchini is coming together. Let me show you. This is the pan that I'm going to use. This is like a 10. This is a 10 by, I think, 7 mini casserole dish. It has 6 servings when you're all done. And I like to line it with a little piece of parchment paper. You could do this dessert in individual ramekins, little ramekins. And I would do 6 ramekins. Put your mixture, your apple mixture in your ramekins, and then put the crumble on top, and then bake those. And those are like the perfect, fall dessert or fall treat or whatever. Okay, our zucchini is coming together so beautifully, and actually, the mixture, the liquid is really cooking down. Your zucchini is getting nice and soft and sort of translucent. I am going to show you. Let's see if I can pull one of these out. I'm going to show you kind of what you're looking for. This is going to bake in the oven too, so it's fine if it's not totally cooked. But can you see, you know how when zucchini starts to get translucent and soft like that? Can you see that? So that is what we're looking for. But now we're going to add the xanthan gum, because the xanthan gum, you know when you cook apple crisp, you get that sort of like that caramely, thick sauce from the apples and the cinnamon. That's what we're going for. And we're actually already starting to kind of get that a little bit. So we are going to pour in a half a cup of water. We're going to keep that going nice and high. And here is my xanthan gum in my trusty pickle jar that's been washed a bazillion times. But I literally bought this xanthan gum probably like a year ago. It lasts so long because you only need a little bit of it. And I'm going to use a half of a teaspoon. And the trick with xanthan gum is you want to sprinkle it all over because you don't want it clumping. So I'm just going to sprinkle it like pixie dust right over my apple pie mixture. And then you're going to stir it all in. And it's going to start getting nice and thick. And when I did the calculations on this recipe, I think it came out to be 5 net carbs for 1 serving. So it's not totally low, like no carbs, because I do have recipes that have no carbs. It's not totally low carb, but 5 grams net carb. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I think a normal apple crisp is, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 or 50 even. But okay, you guys, our apple crisp. I'm going to pour this into this container, and then hopefully I'll be able to show you how beautiful this looks. Okay, so let's get this down here. Let's put this here. Get this out of the way. And then we're going to make our broccoli salad. I love to have this broccoli salad on hand because if I am in a pinch and I don't have anything to eat, I love to just grab some of this and a couple pieces of deli meat. And I'm like, what a great little meal that I have. Okay, so my parchment paper is not cooperating, but it will as soon as I put this down in here. So we'll put that all in there. We're going to bake this for like 25 minutes. And then what I want you to do is just watch it at about the 20-minute mark, because you want to make sure that you don't burn the top. And at about the 20 to 25-minute mark, you're going to check on it. And if you want to do like a really quick little broil for like 30 seconds, seriously, if you walk away, you'll burn it and then you'll really be bummed. But I've got my crumble, nice and crumbly here. And before I put that on, I just want to show you, because this really does look like apples. Can you see? It's really cool. Okay, so we'll put that in there. Jan, I hope you want some of this tomorrow. I'm dropping some off at the studio. If I have time, I'm going to make a little whipped cream, and we'll put some whipped cream on it too. Okay, because whipped cream is one of the easiest. You just add a little bit of stevia in there. Okay, so there's our crumble. Let me get that nice and we're going to move that around. This is so pretty, and my whole kitchen really smells fantastic. Now, I think I made a little mistake because my quiche is in the oven, and I need to move the racks so that I can fit this in there too, because we all know that I have the world's smallest oven, but I only say that because if I have a tiny little oven and I can do all of this stuff, then you can too. I mean, there's just no excuses. If you live in the Santa Monica area and you would like to try some of this, it does look like apples. If you would like to try some of this and you live locally to me, I would love for you to try it and get the word out that it's not weird. I honestly held off on making this recipe because I was like, oh my God, the zucchinis and the nuts and the almond flour and the butter, and it was kind of like an expensive dessert. I didn't want it to, I didn't want it to taste bad, and then I would have to throw it all away. So I'm very, very, very pleased, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys tonight. Okay. Oh my gosh, our quiche looks amazing. But I am going to just pull it out here for a second. It's only got about 7 more minutes. It's got about 7 more minutes. I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to put my apple crisp on the bottom, and we're going to cook this for like 20 minutes. Okay, here we go. This is going in here. We'll set the timer for that little guy later. Okay, let's get this out of the way. We're going to get this out of the way. We're going to get this out of the way. Oh my God, I'm running out of cream. That's sort of like a crime. And now, guys, we are going to make this broccoli salad. You can buy broccoli already cut into florets. But here's the thing about those florets that you get in the supermarket. They're too big for this salad. So you're going to have to cut them down so that they're littler, because you're not cooking these. They're going to get soft just in the dressing that I use. And it, you know, if you have a big, huge block of broccoli, it's hard to chew that. So I have about 8 cups of broccoli florets. I'm actually going to get a bigger bowl because I want to be able to toss everything and make it a little bit easier. I have this jumbo bowl that my mom and dad gave this to me for Christmas. And it was a really huge deal because it was a really expensive bowl. And it was like, why would you want a bowl for Christmas? But this is my absolute favorite bowl. I think they got it at Williams-Sonoma. And I just love it. So we're going to add the broccoli. This is kind of a dump salad. I do have to do a little bit of chopping. I have a half a cup of bacon chopped. I already made it, so it's done. And I do that in advance. We're going to use a cup of, where's my thing? We're going to use a cup of cheddar cheese. I'm going to get to use my favorite tool in the kitchen, my little mandolin, for the red onion. And the thing about the red onion is that you want it to be thick enough to have a nice crunch to it. You don't want it too thin because then it'll get sort of flimsy. But you don't want it too big because nobody really wants to bite into a big raw onion. As the salad sits for a little bit longer, it will soften the onion, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to get that out of the way. We're going to add the onion. Let me just make sure. I've got the cheese. I've got the bacon. Oh, my sunflowers. Where are they? Oh, man. Oh, no, that's not them. Shoot. Maybe they're up here. I don't know where they went. Well, I'm going to add sunflowers. I'm sorry that I didn't pull those out. They're somewhere around here. I don't know where. Someone's in trouble. They moved my sunflower seeds. Well, my sunflower seeds have gone missing, but that's okay. We're going to do our onions. And again, my favorite tool. We're going to do like maybe like a half a cup or maybe even a full cup. But here's what I'm going to do. I think I showed this to you before. I've already chopped this a little bit. I'm going to make these marks because then I'm going to show you how I did this. Do you see how I did that? I made these marks like that. Then I'm going to take my trusty and I'm going to put it on the medium size slice because the big slice is too thick and the little slice is too thin. So then I'm going to use the Carb because the last thing that I need is to slice a finger off. So I am going to just look at how easy that is. I'm going to slice that down. You know who gave me the inspiration to do this? If you guys go on Instagram, you got to go check out my friend Keto Bill. He's freaking hysterical. He is all about the hashtag keto humor. And he made this. He makes it a lot different than I do, but his recipe is great too. He puts a few other things in it, and I don't have the time for that. Okay, so this is about 3/4 of a cup. I might want to do a little bit more. I think I do, just a little more. And the sunflower seeds, darn it, I'm going to find those things. They're going to pop out and like hit me in the face. I'm sure of it. They're somewhere here. Guess what? Oh, the quiche. It's almost done. Okay, let's do just a tiny bit more onion. That buzzer is going to go off any second. And then we're going to pull the quiche out so you can see how freaking gorgeous it is. We're not even having that for dinner tonight. I just made it for a friend. Let's just do a little bit more of the onion. The quiche is for a guy at Peter's office. His name is Gian, and he's been asking for the bacon cheddar quiche forever. And so he's always been such a great supporter of the Kellie Kitchen. Everybody at Hawk Media has been great supporter of the Kellie Kitchen. So they get my treats all the time, and they're so good to me, and they're really lovely. Okay, so let's check our quiche. Wow. You guys, I'm so proud. Okay, we're gonna put this on, put the crumble on for another 15. We'll put it on for 10 minutes. Look at our quiche. Amazing. Amazing. So I'm going to let this fully cool, and then I will be able to, the tin has a center hole underneath, so I'll be able to pop up the bottom of the quiche. Hi, Chapin. You've had this quiche before, I think. This is the bacon cheddar quiche. So I'm going to pop, as soon as everything cools, I'm going to pop the center up so that the rim is released. And then I'll be able to store it that way. I'll leave it on this cookie sheet, and I'll just cover it with some tin foil. If we eat this tomorrow, I'm going to send some to Peter's office at Hawk Media. And if we don't eat it, then I'll put it in the freezer, and it's so great to have it for leftovers. Okay, so I want to show you what I got going here in my bowl. I've got my broccoli, I've got my cheddar, I've got my bacon, and I've got my onions. I'm going to add a little bit more onion. I think that's a really great amount. Do not be afraid by this disastrous mess. It's not nearly as bad as you think it is. I promise. This mess, after the dishwasher is emptied, because we all know that I hate emptying the dishwasher. After the dishwasher is emptied, this mess will take me less than 7 minutes to clean up. So easy. Let's make the dressing. I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use this. That just had water in it. So the dressing, this is my super lazy keto way to make this dressing. Now, you can make, I have a recipe for homemade ranch dressing. Homemade ranch dressing. It has like 13 ingredients. I just didn't have time to make like I did for my apple spice. This only has 4 ingredients, but ranch, the dressing that I have, has like, I don't know, 10 or 12 ingredients. And I just really didn't have time for that today. So this would not be my first choice. Definitely not my first choice. However, I'm in a pinch, and this is better than, you know, going out and having fries or pizza or whatever. So I use a little bit of this, and I just want to make sure that I got everything here. Okay, so, oh, yes, and vinegar. Vinegar is really good. Where's my thing? I just use, you can use apple cider vinegar, that's totally fine, but I have always just used plain old distilled vinegar. And you only need a little bit. I think it's like a tablespoon. Yeah, it's just a teaspoon actually. Okay, so we are going to go with a half of a cup of mayonnaise, a quarter of a cup of a quarter of a cup of sour cream, 1 tablespoon of the ranch dressing, and put that there. Get this out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to toss it, and it's going to seem, we might add a little bit of almond milk to thin it a little bit, but you don't want it too thin. So we're going to do a half a cup of mayonnaise. Somebody said to me the other day, they had just started keto, and I was telling them everything that they needed to know. And after like 3 days, she was like, "You're meaning to tell me that I can eat all this fat and meat and cheese and I can still lose weight?" And I was like, I know, it's like witchcraft. I've never maintained my weight my entire life up until I started this way of eating, and low carb and intermittent fasting has it's saved my life. It's helped my gut. If you listen to the podcast that I was on, okay, so that's a half a cup of that. We're going to do a quarter of a cup of this. Let's get this out of the way. If you listen to the podcast that just went live today on Low Carb MD, you'll hear, like, I just, roller coaster dieted for a long time, and that was always a problem, except for the fact that then I got really sick. I think it had to do with the fact that I just depleted my entire gut flora, and I just was like a mess. And I started this way of eating, and I'm telling you, I went shopping this weekend. I'm in size 2s right now, 2s and 4s. I'm not a crazy exerciser, and I sleep like a rock star, and I just love it. Okay, we're going to do, okay, on to the next thing. We're going to do a quarter of a cup of sour cream. I'm going to eyeball this. That's about a quarter of a cup. And then I'm going to do a teaspoon of vinegar. And then I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of my ranch dressing mix. Again, I wouldn't normally choose this, but, somebody said to me the other day, like, I showed them how to get these egg bites at Costco. They're just like the ones that you get at Starbucks, but they are less carbs and less money. And so I was like, oh my God, this is such a great find. And oh my God, the keto police threw me under the bus. And I was just, they were like, you should be making your own. And I was like, look, I'm cooking all the time. I cook more than, I don't know, probably 80% of the people. And I don't have time to be doing that. So if I don't have time all the time, then you guys don't have time all the time. So I think it's a great way to fill what it is that we need to do to be able to remain compliant. So I have 1 tablespoon of my ranch dressing, and it has 1 carb per teaspoon. So this is 3 teaspoons. So that's 3 carbs. I'm fine with that. It's not, that's, if I have to be super, I think most people would agree, if you have to be so strict, and some people do because there are medical reasons, and you really want to work with a doctor that is medically educated, nutritionally educated about how all this works, and they can help you through that if you ever have a stall or whatever. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to show you this. So there's my ranch dressing. It's a little bit thick, you see, but it does have some run to it. I want it that way because I don't want my salad to be like soupy. I want it to be coated. We're going to put that in there. We're almost done, you guys. I hope that our apple crisp is going to be done soon. I do have some pretty amazing pictures of the apple crisp on my Instagram. I think I did it last night or today. I don't know. My head's spinning. I'm doing a bazillion things. The cookbook is coming along. It's almost 200 pages, and it might just kill me, but it's very exciting. Okay, I don't think we're gonna have a chance to do the whipped cream, but that's okay. We will do that next time. Okay, so I literally just poured that right on top there, and I probably should use a bigger spoon, but I've already got this one going. And you're just gonna coat. I know that that doesn't seem like very much, but you're gonna coat around, and it is gonna coat it just enough. You're gonna get each piece of broccoli coated, and the onion, and after a little while, the onion is gonna sort of settle down, and the onion is gonna weep a little bit, and you will have this gorgeous broccoli salad. And again, this is great for, like, you know, if you are having like a Sunday afternoon picnic, barbecue. I know we're kind of getting into the fall season, but you know, like tailgating, this is a great salad for tailgating. If you're going to a tailgate and you're like, oh my God, what do I bring? There's going to be a whole bunch of non-compliant foods there. Well, this broccoli salad is sort of like a really great staple. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pour, look at it, I'm cleaning up as I go, getting everything out of the way. Let me check on this baby. Oh, it is so close. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up to the top level of the oven, and we're going to let it, because everything is already cooked in here. The is already cooked, and the crumble, there was nothing in there that needed to be cooked. But I'm going to move it to the top level, and I'm going to keep an eye on it because I don't want it to burn. Oh, wait, I have to show this to you. It's starting to bubble. Can you see that? Oh my God, you guys, so good. Okay, I'm going to move this to the top. We're going to let that go for like 3 more minutes. I'm just going to transfer the salad to this smaller bowl because this jumbo bowl doesn't fit anywhere. And it's great for a party, but it does not fit anywhere. And you just want to make sure that all the cheese and the onions is totally mixed in there. And you guys, this is totally keto compliant. Like, you gotta believe it. It's so crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go right here. Please don't drop this. And what else can I share with you guys? Oh, remember we made peanut butter bars last week? Well, I am so sorry. I'm not sorry. They are so freaking good, but I am so sorry that I have not gotten the recipe up onto the website. I did not get good pictures of them. Unfortunately, they were eaten too fast because they are so good. My friend, I was telling her, I dropped a couple of them off, and she was like, by far, this was her favorite. So I promise, I will get the peanut butter bar recipe up for everybody to see. We're going to get that out of the way. I promise this cleanup is not even a big deal. There is our broccoli salad. So amazing. I'll put a saran wrap over this, and I'll let it sit in the fridge for at least a few days, maybe like 4 or 5 days, and it'll get nice and soft, and it'll be a great thing to add if I need to just grab some hard-boiled eggs or some deli meat. Our lovely quiche. See if I can carry that. I can't. Too heavy. I'm sorry, it's too hot. There's our lovely quiche, all done. And I was hoping, I just want to wait like maybe like 30 more seconds because I think our apple crisp, I'm going to put broiled just for a second. Just for like 30 seconds. I promise I won't let it go because I don't want it to burn, but I do want you guys to see it. It's really delicious. Okay. You guys, I think we're almost done. We are done. This has been so much fun. Let me know if you have any ideas or anything you want to see me make or anything you want me to take from the, carb-filled world and make it keto friendly. I would love to help you guys do that. I haven't made my rotisserie chicken in a while, but we're going to be starting to make a bunch of soups. And, oh, yes, we are done. Just get this out of the way. My apple crisp is bubbling and gooey. Can you see that? I think you can see that. And the topping is nice and browned right on the top. I'm going to let that sit there. I'm going to let it cool. And as soon as that's all cooled, I will serve that. If you have some keto-friendly vanilla ice cream, it's fantastic. If you have the wherewithal to make some homemade whipped cream, that's great. But actually, even lazier and easier is just do a dollop of full-fat Greek plain yogurt would be great on this. So thank you for joining me. This has been so much fun. And, you can see me at thekellykitchen.com, The Kellie Kitchen on all social media. Please subscribe. It helps me stay motivated to keep doing these videos for you guys. And I will see you next week. We're getting into soup season, you guys. Okay, bye.